Okay, everyone. Thank you for sticking with us. We'll go from the regulatory, the legislative realm into some service centers. We'll discuss some buying patterns and that key market. It is steel's, I guess, biggest single customer. So I am happy to introduce, moderating this panel, is Mark Wiggett. Mark is Senior Editor, Markets with Platts. He joined Steel Business Briefing, I think it was 2003. A Cambridge graduate. He's straight from London, I guess, a couple days ago. He spent very interesting CV for Mark. He spent some time as a trader in the Sudan, Khartoum, right? And then got into reporting about steel. And if you know SBB.com and the briefing, of course, Steel Business Briefing, we do put videos up there, also on Platts.com. And arguably, Mark is maybe the most visible one up there in terms of the videos that he does. He produces for us Global Market Outlook, what we call GMO. It's more the monthly analytical publication, if you will, that we have in our stable. And also coming up to the podium, Michelle Applebaum will be with this group. She'll be here with us in a little while. But right now, Mark Wiggett will moderate this session and has a few words, and we'll introduce the other panelists. Please welcome Mark for me.
Okay, thanks very much, Joe. I've just got to throw out the entire middle bit of my introduction, as you covered my CV, but thanks very much indeed for the welcome. I've been to quite a few of these conferences here in Chicago now, and one of the first things I learned very early on was that you never ever want to follow Tom Danczek as the next moderator, because you're never going to look good after that. And I think he's proved that again today. On the upside, though, I do get to moderate this session, which looks like it's going to be one of the most interesting ones. It's entitled Service Centers Growing Roles, which I think is probably relevant to more of the audience than probably a lot of the other sessions. In addition to the things that Joe mentioned, I also edit the World Steel Review, which is a weekly summary of what we put out as Platts Steel Business Briefing, and it's a sister publication to American Steel Review, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with here in America, where it's edited by Tom Balsaret. So I'm pleased to be back here in Chicago and looking forward to hearing from this distinguished panel. We've managed to get together a service center CEO, an ex-service center executive turned consultant, and one of the best-known steel industry analysts here in America. So I think we should have all those topics that you can see in your guide covered from pretty much every angle. All three of the speakers were here last year at the last conference, and they must have been pretty good because we've invited them all back. Now may or may not be a good time to mention this survey in your program guide. Please do fill this out, and we very much look forward to your feedback and leave it in reception whenever you're finally leaving the conference. So of this panel, our first speaker is Jeremy Flack, CEO of Flack Steel, which is a service center headquartered in Cleveland. After various other jobs, he started in steel at Lawson Steel with a 12-year stint, during which time he became co-owner, president, and treasurer. Sounds pretty good to me. Jeremy then founded Flack Steel. I certainly enjoyed your presentation, Jeremy, last time, talking about the new style of business that you have been creating. So I'm looking forward to hearing again from you. Please join me in welcoming Jeremy Flack.
Those of you that know me know I like to have fun with this stuff, so it'll be light, it'll be fast, it won't drone on. I'm not an economist, I'm not a consultant. I'm the small business guy that Barack Obama wants to take credit for. He's helped me so much, and our business is flourishing because of Barack and his policies, so I get that right away. I'm the guy that he wants the most out of. Anyway. So politics, I'm not supposed to talk about that. My ex-wife said you don't talk about religion, politics, or what, sex. So thank you to SBB for having Flack Steel and giving us a forum, be able to share our ideas on the service center industry and how we see the market and the market changing. We think SBB does a fine job on a daily basis covering the issues in our industry and covering pricing around the world. We rely on the SBB a lot to run our business, so we think they're doing a fine job. Okay, quickly, who is Flack Steel? For those of you that don't know us, we are a bit different than your average garden variety service center. We like to think of ourselves as small but mighty. We did a little over $150 million in revenue last year. Pretty diversified market space. Stuff's listed up there. I won't get into it. The key issue of Flack Steel that makes us different than most distributors in our space is that we don't own any physical equipment. We use the what I'll get into here in a minute, overcapacity in the processing space to get our steel processed around North America. We have 45 relationships currently with toll processors, and our metal goes through those outlets. We are the self-proclaimed industry leader in hedging. Those of you that have heard my, certainly last year's talk, I spoke pretty freely about the forward market for HRC. We're very involved in that space. We use it in 3 primary ways. We market make, we use it to hedge our own book, and we also use it to support our customers' businesses. Okay, the headline. We think the fuse is lit in the service center business to finally have consolidation. In the last 10 years, as I've been growing up in this business, we've heard over and over again, when are service centers going to consolidate? When are service centers going to consolidate? And I think for the reasons that I'll outline here in a minute, we're right there right now. And I think that in the next months or maybe year, I'll wake up one day and I'll feel like Lloyd Bridges in the control tower. Did everybody see Airplane, the movie back in 1980? Leslie Nielsen, Lloyd Bridges. There was a scary movie in '77, I think, called Airplane '77, or Airport '77. Yeah, it was bad in the plane crash. It was Airplane. And so they made Airport in '80, I think. And so Lloyd Bridges is in the control tower, and he just kind of showing up for work in his normal work week, and getting the planes to land. And he says, I picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue. And I think that as service center owners, we're going to wake up, and very soon, because of the changes in the market, we're going to feel like Lloyd did in the control tower. And I also think there's a lot of airline and service center similarity. Mostly we don't create very much value over long periods of time. Okay, so we're in an industry with a lot of overcapacity. John D. Rockefeller would freak out if he saw what we have for the service center market. He would want to buy it all up, rename it Standard Steel, and push everybody out and drive the price up. So he wouldn't like it very much. It's a personality contest. It's very difficult for us to differentiate, or for our customers to differentiate us. They have really little issues substituting one of us for the other as fast as possible if they don't like something. The price cycles where they used to create value from 2004 to 2011, the price cycles since 2011 early have started to actually destroy value in our chain. That's become difficult. And there's a lot of interest rate risk in our business that I don't think is being discussed at all. So you have a business that's having an overcapacity issue. Secondly, a leg on the stool, difficulty for our industry, is that there's a scarcity of available capital, I believe, going forward. Our government-controlled banks our government came to us and said, we're going to protect you, American citizens, we're going to protect you from the volatility and the difficulty in the market, and we're going to audit these banks, and we're going to have higher capital requirements, and we're going to have lots of regulation. This is going to protect America. Well, it's not. It may be protecting those banks and those shareholders, but they're making it difficult for the middle market companies that have traditionally been the lifeblood in the service center industry to fund ourselves. Great article in the AMM, sorry SBB, this is a good article in the AMM recently about steel distribution facing a new financing landscape. This is a very hot topic in our business. The banks have become intolerant of the volatility cycle in steel and in earnings at steel companies, and they are clamping down left and right, belts and suspenders on everything, attempting to get us to protect them from any possible risk. So this makes it more difficult for us in an overcapacity environment to lever up our businesses. Next leg on the stool. We've taken some blows. 08, 09, I know I wrote down my inventory. I know the rest of the distribution community did as well. That was the first blow. The second blow was bad debt that followed it in the manufacturing space. Smaller companies who then lacked funding, who had difficulty making money, and they hit the trade, which was us, with bad debt. So that was late 2009, 2010, maybe a little bleed off into 11 before balance sheets got kind of rationalized. And then leg 3 on the stool is that we are facing a market today as service centers where there's little to no volatility. We have conference after conference after conference where everyone's talking about volatility in steel. What are we going to do about it? Well, apparently it's been handled for us already because there's really been no volatility in the last couple of years. So here's why we're going to consolidate. This was a 4-year period of time. This is price volatility around a mean hot roll price of $288 from 1998 to 2002. The most important thing about this slide, it starts in 1998, which is when I started in the steel business, so that's why we have this slide. This is today, so this is you want to take that? You got it? Okay. This is your mom, is it? So this market has gotten tight, and buyers are becoming complacent. As service centers, we are waiting for the next big price rally to come and save us, and so we can make some money, buy at the bottom, ride the price up, and make a little cash. We haven't had that opportunity in 2 years now. And so we're in overcapacity, we're having difficulty with our banks, we're facing a market that's dead flat, and so this is just sucking cash, essentially sucking earnings out of the steel center, service center space. There was a company called Wheeling Pittsburgh Steel, and they were a vendor of ours. And in the mid to late 2000s, Wheeling Pitt was having a lot of difficulty, a lot of cost issue, and earnings situation problems. So it would come that they were going to go out of business, and the rumors would be around that Wheeling's about ready to shut down. And as soon as they were like 3 hours away from letting everybody go, and the price would rally $120 a ton, and Wheeling calls us up and say, hey, we're back in business, we're good, everything's great, we're going to be great, we're making steel. And this happened over and over again until 2008. And I think the service centers, we're getting into the same situation right now, which is that we're kind of waiting for the price to save us, for rising tides to raise all ships in the service center business, and it might not happen. We cannot wait around for another dose of volatility to pick us up as an industry. We have to find other ways to be innovative and to innovate for our customers, and kind of go through this natural consolidation process that I believe is going to happen, rather than hope for another rally in the price. In fact, what if the price didn't go up? What if it went down to 400? And we believe in our group that there's a lot more opportunity, or a lot better, greater probability. Dave Feldstein's in the audience. Dave talks about probability all the time. There's a greater probability that hot roll will fall rather than rise, largely over the next several years. So what do we have to do? We have to really, really innovate for our customers. We have to attempt to differentiate ourselves as distributors, and we have to establish a market niche and a real strategy other than hoping for volatility. So why are we ripe for consolidation? A lot of this stuff I went through already. We're an old industry, overcapacity, too many points of sale, blah, blah, blah. The important issue in this slide is that there's one big company in particular, Reliance, buying a lot of service centers. And they're supposedly consolidating or helping to assist in consolidating our industry. Some of the other large service centers have also been buying up other companies. But what the model has been is buy service center XYZ and let them operate exactly the way that they've always operated. Leave everybody in place, leave the brand in place, leave the equipment in place. So what these people have done is they've consolidated cash flow, they haven't consolidated capacity, they haven't served to consolidate the market. So I would argue that our market hasn't consolidated yet. Maybe it has on paper a little bit, but in reality, in the trenches every single day, that has not happened. As far as the buyers of steel are concerned, that has not happened. But we think that all the things that are set up that I talked about today set us up, every day we're one day closer to real fundamental, probably forced by the market, consolidation in the service center business. We, of course, think that we're well positioned for that and look forward to it. So thank you. Thanks for your time.
Okay, thanks very much, Jeremy. And also thanks very much for your kind words about SBB. I should perhaps just point out that at the moment now the current branding is Platts SPB.
I'm sorry.
And, but it's the same people and the same products.
So if I say that a bunch more times, do I get a discount?
Still, your points are still valid.